I bought my mother a $2 million condo, then my father's new family took over and changed the locks. So I showed up with the sheriff and eviction papers they never saw coming. Before we dive in, please take a second to subscribe and tell us where you're watching from. It means more than you know. Now let's continue this story. The hospital smell hit me first. Antiseptic mixed with cafeteria food and desperation. I was sitting in the waiting room when my phone buzzed. "Miss Johnson, your mother's biopsy results are back." My hands trembled as I gripped the phone tighter. Stage 3 breast cancer. The doctor's voice faded into background noise as I watched Mama through the window, her frail body connected to machines that beeped rhythmically. She looked so small in that bed, nothing like the woman who'd worked double shifts at the diner to raise me alone after Daddy left us for Melissa when I was 12. That was 23 years ago, but the wound never fully healed. I'd built myself up from nothing, put myself through college working 3 jobs, climbed the corporate ladder in tech sales and finally made it. My 6-figure salary felt like vindication. Like proof that his abandonment hadn't broken us. "Baby, don't cry," Mama whispered when I entered her room. Her voice was scratchy weak. "I'm going to fix this," I promised, squeezing her hand. "The thing about cancer is it doesn't care about your pride or your past. It just takes and takes." The treatments would be expensive, brutal. Her tiny apartment with its leaking ceiling and broken heater wasn't fit for recovery. That night, scrolling through luxury real estate listings, I made a decision that would unravel everything. I'd buy her a condo, something beautiful, safe, accessible. Somewhere she could heal with dignity. I had no idea I was building a prison for myself. The condo was perfect. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the waterfront, hardwood floors that gleamed in the afternoon sun, 2 bedrooms with an accessible bathroom designed for medical equipment. The real estate agent, Sandra, smiled as I signed the papers. "Cash offer, immediate close. Your mother is lucky to have you. $2 million. My entire savings, plus a loan I'd have to work 10 more years to pay off." But watching Mama's face when I showed her the virtual tour made every penny worth it. "Baby, this is too much," she cried, tears streaming down her sunken cheeks. Her chemo had started and she'd lost 20 pounds already. "Nothing's too much for you, Mama." I meant it. The closing happened fast, 30 days. I hired movers, bought new furniture, installed grab bars and a medical alert system. The property was titled solely in my name because her credit was destroyed and I wanted to protect her from any financial vulnerability. She'd be the primary resident, but legally I owned it. That decision would become my only weapon. Moving day was bittersweet. Mama was too weak to help, so I unpacked while she rested, her bald head wrapped in a silk scarf I'd bought her. "I never thought I'd live somewhere this beautiful," she whispered that first night. We sat on the balcony watching the sunset paint the water gold and orange. I held her hand, feeling the fragile bones beneath paper-thin skin. "You deserve this and more." I should have seen the warning signs when Daddy called that week. We hadn't spoken in 5 years. "Heard about your mama's situation. Melissa and I want to help." His voice oozed false concern. I hung up. 3 weeks after Mama settled in, I got a text from her. "Your daddy's here with Melissa and the kids. They brought groceries." My stomach dropped. I was 2 hours away at a conference, unable to leave. "Mama, please don't let them stay long," I replied, anxiety crawling up my spine like spiders. She didn't respond. When I called that evening, Daddy answered. "Hey sweetheart, we're just helping out your mama. She shouldn't be alone during treatment." His tone was syrupy, performative. "I have nurses coming daily. She's fine. Family should take care of family," he said, and I heard Melissa laughing in the background. That laugh, sharp and mean, the same one I remembered from when I was 12 and she told me, "Your mama couldn't keep a man, that's not my problem." I drove home immediately, arriving near midnight. Daddy's car was still in the visitor parking. Inside the condo I found chaos. Melissa had rearranged Mama's medication schedule, just moved things around without asking the nurses. Their twin sons, Orlando and Jason, both 21, were sprawled on my custom couch playing video games at full volume while Mama tried to sleep. Their daughter, Lisa, 19, was in the guest bedroom I'd designated as Mama's treatment recovery room. What are you all doing here? I demanded, exhaustion and fury making my voice shake. Melissa stood, hands on her hips. Your father has rights. That's his wife in there. She pointed at Mama's closed bedroom door. Ex-wife, I corrected. They divorced 15 years ago. Semantics, Daddy said, emerging from the kitchen with a beer from my fridge. She needs family. Real family. I should have kicked them out immediately. Looking back, that was my first mistake. Being too polite, too accommodating. You all need to leave. Tomorrow, I said firmly, trying to keep my voice steady even as my heart hammered. Melissa smirked. We drove 4 hours. Let us stay the night. Mama emerged from her bedroom looking exhausted and confused. Baby, they're just trying to help. The guilt in her voice broke something in me. He was too sick, too tired to fight. Too conditioned from years of Daddy's manipulation to see what was happening. That night, I slept on the couch in my own condo, listening to Orlando and Jason laugh and yell until 3 a.m. The next morning, I woke to find Melissa cooking breakfast in the kitchen like she owned the place. Your mama needs protein, she announced, scrambling eggs I'd bought specifically for Mama's restricted diet. She's on a special meal plan from her oncologist, I said through gritted teeth. Melissa waved her hand dismissively. I raised 4 kids. I think I know about nutrition. 4 kids. The reminder stung. After Daddy left, he'd built a whole new family while Mama and I struggled. Now here they were, invading our peace. When I tried to discuss it with Mama privately, she took my hand weakly. They're being kind, baby. Your daddy wants to make amends. Mama, he left you broken, heartbroken. He's never paid a dime of child support. He's never... People change, she interrupted softly. Her optimism was a wound that never healed. 2 days became 4. 4 became a week. Every morning I'd find new evidence of their entitlement. Melissa using Mama's expensive skincare products. The twins eating specialized food meant for Mama's treatment diet. Lisa inviting friends over for pool parties at the building's amenity deck. The breaking point started subtly. I came by after work on a Friday. My key wouldn't turn in the lock. My heart stopped. I knocked, confusion giving way to panic. Jason answered, looking annoyed. What? Why won't my key work? Oh, Dad changed the locks. Said it wasn't safe having so many copies floating around. His casual tone made my blood run cold. I pushed past him, finding Daddy on the couch watching football. You changed the locks on my property? My voice was eerily calm. Our property, Melissa corrected, emerging from the master bedroom, Mama's bedroom, wearing a silk robe I'd never seen before. Your Mama wanted us to feel comfortable. We're family. Where's Mama? I demanded, looking around frantically. She's resting in the guest room, Daddy said, not even looking at me. The master has better light and Melissa's knees have been bothering her. They'd moved my dying mother out of the master bedroom I'd specifically designed for her medical needs, into the smaller guest room, so Melissa could be comfortable. Get out, I whispered. Then louder, get out of my condo right now. Daddy finally looked at me and his expression was pure contempt. You think you're so high and mighty buying this place, but your Mama asked us to stay. She wants her family around her. Maybe if you weren't so busy with your fancy job, you'd be here more. The accusation hit like a slap. I worked 60-hour weeks to pay for this place, her treatments, everything. And he dared. Orlando appeared from the second bathroom. Yo, Dad, the shower pressure's weak. We should call someone. I found Mama in the guest room, propped up on pillows, her breathing labored. The room was darker, smaller, further from the accessible bathroom. Mama, what's happening? I knelt beside her bed, taking her frail hand. They changed the locks on my condo. They moved you in here. Baby, don't be dramatic. Her voice was so weak. Your daddy's been helping with my medications, driving me to appointments when you're at work. Melissa's been cooking. I hired nurses for medications. I can take time off for appointments. You've done so much already, she said, tears forming. I can't keep being a burden. Let me have my family around me. All my family. The word gutted me. All my family, as if I wasn't enough. As if the man who abandoned her and the woman who mocked her deserved equal standing with the daughter who'd sacrificed everything. Mama, this isn't right. I bought this place for you. And I'm grateful, baby. So grateful. But I'm dying. The word hung in the air between us, heavy and terrible. The doctors say the cancer's spreading. I don't want to spend my last months fighting. I want peace. I want everyone together. Her hand squeezed mine weakly. Please, baby. For me. Let them stay. How do you argue with a dying woman's wishes? How do you tell your mother that she's being manipulated when she's too sick to see it? I left that night without my key, feeling like I'd lost something irretrievable. At home, I called the real estate attorney who'd handled the purchase. They can't legally change locks on property they don't own, she confirmed. You could call the police. But Mama wanted them there. And I couldn't bear to traumatize her in her final months. For 3 weeks, I became a visitor in the home I owned. I'd call before coming by, bringing Mama's favorite foods only to find them eaten by Orlando and Jason. I'd try to discuss treatment plans with her nurses, only to have Melissa interrupt with her expertise. The bills kept coming. Property taxes, HOA fees, utilities that had tripled with 5 extra people living there. I paid everything, working overtime, skipping meals to afford it. Meanwhile, Daddy and Melissa acted like generous caretakers. The twins posted Instagram stories from the condo, showing off the waterfront views. Friends commented, "Your parents' place is amazing." Not once did they mention who actually owned it. Not once did they acknowledge my sacrifice. Then came the Friday that shattered everything. I arrived for my scheduled visit to find suitcases by the door. My mother's suitcases, the ones I'd bought her for a trip we'd planned before her diagnosis. "What's this?" I asked, dread pooling in my stomach. Daddy emerged from the master bedroom looking sheepish. "Your mama's moving in with us. Our place has better care facilities. You live in a 2-bedroom townhouse 4 hours away. We're making it work. Melissa's been researching hospice care near us." The word hospice made me dizzy. Mama agreed to this? Melissa appeared triumphant. She wants to be with family in her final days. Real family who actually care, not someone who just throws money around. My hands balled into fists. "Where is she?" In the guest room, Mama looked smaller than ever, swimming in one of my old college sweatshirts. "Baby, don't be upset. You're leaving? Moving in with them. They offered, and I don't want to be a burden anymore." "You're not a burden." ## Chapter 8. The Sheriff's Deputy. After they took Mama, physically took her, loading her into Daddy's car despite my protests, I sat in that empty guest room and cried until my throat was raw. Then I got angry. Really, truly angry. The kind of anger that clarifies everything. I called my attorney at 8 a.m. Saturday morning. I want them out. All of them. I want my mother back in the home I bought for her, and I want her ex-husband and his family prosecuted for whatever laws they've broken. "That's going to be complicated," she warned. "Your mother went willingly. After weeks of manipulation and emotional abuse. We spent 3 hours strategizing. The legal terms were clear. They'd changed locks without authorization, established residency without a lease, and effectively stolen property access from the legal owner. I could file for emergency eviction and trespassing charges. Monday morning I filed everything. Tuesday I called Adult Protective Services, reporting suspected elder manipulation and medical neglect. Wednesday I drove 4 hours to Daddy's townhouse. The neighborhood was run down, nothing like the pristine environment Mama needed for recovery. Inside, I could see through the window. Mama lay on a couch in the living room while Melissa's grandchildren played loudly around her. No medical equipment. No privacy. No dignity. I knocked. Daddy answered, immediately hostile. "You're not welcome here. I want to see my mother." "She doesn't want to see you." Behind him I heard Mama's weak voice. "Let her in." The living room was chaos. Toys everywhere, the TV blaring, the smell of cigarette smoke despite Mama's compromised lungs. She looked worse than I'd ever seen her, gray, hollow-eyed, barely conscious. "Mama, please come home," I begged, kneeling beside the couch. "Come back to the condo. Your real home." Melissa sat down across from us, her expression smug. She's not going anywhere. She signed papers. My blood ran cold. What papers? Power of attorney. Medical and financial. She assigned it to your father. Melissa pulled out documents from a folder on the coffee table. All legal. Notarized last week. I snatched the papers, scanning them frantically. They looked legitimate. Mama's shaky signature at the bottom, witnessed and dated. Mama, you gave him power of attorney? Why? She wouldn't meet my eyes. Baby, I was so tired of being caught in the middle. He said it would make things easier, help coordinate my care. He manipulated you into signing away your rights. Melissa laughed, actually laughed. She made her choice. Now about that condo. Since your father has power of attorney and your mother's the legal resident, we think it's fair that we continue living there. It's what she would want. The audacity was breathtaking. She's not on the title. I own that property outright. But she's your mother, Daddy said, his voice taking on that manipulative sweetness. Surely you wouldn't evict your dying mother's family? What would people think? There was the real play. They were banking on my guilt, my love for Mama, my fear of looking like the villain. They'd isolated her, manipulated her into signing documents, and now they were stealing the one thing I'd built for her. Get out, I said quietly. Both of you. I need to speak with my mother alone. No, Melissa said flatly. This is our home. You're the guest here. I looked at Mama, really looked at her, and saw the truth in her exhausted eyes. She'd known. Maybe not the full extent, but she'd known they were using her and she'd been too tired to fight. I left that townhouse and drove straight to the sheriff's office in my city. The deputy who took my statement, Officer Williams, was a black woman about my age with kind eyes that hardened as I showed her the evidence. They changed the locks? Yes, ma'am. And you have the original deed showing sole ownership? Right here. I spread out documents on her desk. The purchase agreement, the title, bank statements showing my mortgage payments, utility bills in my name. Everything. And your mother, she's currently being held at their residence against her will? I don't know if it's against her will exactly. But she's not in condition to make these decisions. They got her to sign power of attorney while she was on heavy pain medications. Officer Williams made notes, her jaw tight. This is elder abuse, potentially. Financial exploitation at minimum. You're doing the right thing. Those words, you're doing the right thing, were a lifeline. For weeks I'd questioned myself, wondering if I was being cruel, unreasonable, ungrateful. But I wasn't. I was protecting my mother from predators who happened to share her DNA. The legal process moved faster than I expected. By Thursday, I had temporary restraining orders against Daddy, Melissa, and their children, barring them from the condo. By Friday, I had emergency court orders for eviction and trespass charges. And on Saturday morning, exactly 2 weeks after they'd taken Mama, I returned to my condo with Officer Williams and 2 other deputies. We also had an APS caseworker and an ambulance standing by. The locks they'd installed were breached with a legal warrant. Inside, we found exactly what I'd suspected, evidence of their permanent residency. Melissa's clothes in the master closet, the twins' gaming equipment connected to my television, Lisa's makeup scattered across the bathroom counter. But no people. They'd fled. We found them at the townhouse, all of them looking shocked when the sheriff's vehicles pulled up. The APS caseworker went in first while I waited outside, my heart hammering so hard I thought I might be sick. When they brought Mama out on a stretcher, she was too weak to walk. I broke down. She was barely conscious, clearly not receiving adequate care. Baby, she whispered when she saw me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's okay, Mama. I've got you. The paramedics loaded her into the ambulance while Daddy stood on his porch, face purple with rage. You can't take her. I have power of attorney. That power of attorney was obtained under duress and is being challenged, Officer Williams informed him calmly. Additionally, you're being charged with trespassing, illegal occupancy, and elder financial exploitation. You have the right to remain silent. I didn't stay to watch them arrest him. I rode in the ambulance with Mama, holding her hand as they checked her vitals. She was dehydrated, malnourished, and her medication schedule had been completely disrupted. "Why didn't you call me?" I asked, tears streaming down my face. "Why did you let them do this?" I thought. Her voice was barely audible over the ambulance sirens. "I thought maybe he'd changed. Maybe he really wanted to be there for me. I wanted to believe it so badly." The truth settled between us, heavy and painful. She'd chosen to believe his lies because the alternative, accepting that her ex-husband was exploiting her dying daughter's generosity, was too painful. And it had nearly cost her everything. At the hospital, doctors were frank. Another week in those conditions and she might not have survived. The neglect was that severe. I called my job, explained the situation, and took emergency FMLA leave. For 2 weeks, I stayed by her side while she recovered enough to come home. The condo felt different when we returned. I'd had everything professionally cleaned, changed all the locks again, and installed a security system that would alert me to any unexpected visitors. Mama cried when she saw her bedroom restored. The medical equipment properly arranged, fresh flowers on the nightstand, her favorite photos on the walls. "I don't deserve this," she whispered. I let them. Stop. I sat on the edge of her bed, taking both her hands in mine. "You were sick and vulnerable and they exploited that. This isn't your fault." But we both knew it was more complicated than that. Over the following weeks, as criminal proceedings moved forward against Daddy and Melissa, the full scope of their plan emerged. They'd intended to establish residency, then use Mama's power of attorney to claim I'd given them the condo as a gift. They'd consulted with a lawyer about adverse possession and tenant rights. They'd plotted systematically to steal my property. The twins and Lisa were charged as accessories. In court, their defense was exactly what I'd expected. She's his ex-wife and she wanted family around. His daughter has plenty of money. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, wasn't sympathetic. This defendant and his current wife systematically isolated and manipulated a terminally ill woman, changed locks on property they didn't own, forged residency, and obtained power of attorney under false pretenses. The daughter's financial status is irrelevant to these crimes. Daddy got 18 months. Melissa got a year. The kids got probation and restitution orders. But the real punishment was something else entirely. As Mama's condition worsened, the cancer was winning despite everything. I made sure Daddy knew he wasn't welcome. Not at the condo, not at the hospital, not anywhere near her. "Please," he called from jail, his voice thin and desperate. "Let me say goodbye." Mama died on a Tuesday morning in early spring. The sun was rising over the water, painting her bedroom in shades of gold and pink. I was holding her hand, had been all night, and I felt the moment she slipped away. A slight relaxation, a final exhale, and then stillness. The hospice nurse confirmed it quietly. "She's gone." I sat there for an hour, just holding her hand, watching the sun rise over the water she'd loved so much. She'd had 63 days in the condo after I brought her back. 63 days of dignity, proper medical care, and peace. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something. Daddy called that afternoon, somehow having heard the news through Melissa's sister. "I want to come to the funeral." "No." My voice was emotionless, drained. "Please. Whatever our differences, she was my wife once. I loved her. You used her. You manipulated her. You stole the last peaceful months she could have had and you turned them into a nightmare. You don't get to mourn her." I hung up. The funeral was small. Mama's friends from the diner, some cousins, my colleagues who'd become family. We held it at the waterfront near the condo and spread her ashes where she'd watched so many sunsets. As people left, I stood alone at the railing looking out at the water. I'd spent $2 million and destroyed my relationship with half my family to give my mother 63 days of peace. Was it worth it? My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Your daddy's crying in his cell. Hope you're happy. Melissa." I blocked the number and slipped my phone away. Happy? No. I wasn't happy. I was hollowed out, exhausted, grieving the mother I'd lost and the family I'd never really had. But I'd done the right thing. I'd protected her when she couldn't protect herself. I'd fought for her dignity when others tried to steal it. And in those final 63 days she told me something I'd carry forever. Baby, you saved me. Not just from them but from myself. You showed me what real love looks like. So no, I wasn't happy. But I could live with my choices. That was more than Daddy could say. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe. Have you ever had to set boundaries with toxic family members? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might help someone else going through the same struggle. And remember, protecting someone you love, even from themselves sometimes, isn't cruelty. It's the deepest form of love.